Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for. You've been searching in the dark, your sweat soaking through the floor. Buried in your bones, there's an ache that you can't ignore. Taking your breath, stealing your mind, and all that was real is left behind. Don't fight it, it's coming for you, running at you. It's only this moment, don't care what comes after. You feel a dream, can't you see you getting closer? Just surrender, cause you feel the feeling taking over. It's fire, it's freedom, it's flying open. It's a picture in the pulpit and your blind devotion. There's something breaking at the brick of every wall, it's holding all that you know.
Okay, so today's video is going to be a much requested room tour update. Now the room is only about halfway done as far as the changes that are going on, but you guys couldn't wait, so I'm just going to go ahead and do a mid-change update and show you what I've got going on in the room, because there's already been a lot of changes, but there's still more to come. So let's take a look at what's going on. Okay, so let's start off with this right here. This is one of the biggest changes done to the room so far, and I picked up these 4 units. I've been slowly collecting them as I go to the reptile shows, and I'm really happy with these. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at what I've got going on inside of these setups. They're kind of dark right now. I don't have lighting in there. That is something that is coming soon though. So let me set the camera down and I can at least pull the animals out for you guys to see. Okay, so I've got the caging right here. I'm just gonna pull these animals out, and with the backlighting over here kind of makes it a little dark, so you have to be at this angle. But nonetheless, at the very top is my young jungle carpet python. And again, this cage is only temporary for the carpet python because it is going to outgrow this enclosure. But until then, this is going to work out perfect. And just as I suspected, I'll have to drop some footage in here, or photo, because he is hidden. See if we can't get the angle right, so maybe you guys can see. He's inside the tube here, and he's actually right there. I can't quite get the angle, so I'll have to drop in some footage of him, but because we ain't gonna be able to get him out of there, and if we do, he's gonna be cranky. So let's go ahead and put him back. He probably has the best setup because I've got live or fake plants and cork tubing in there for him to in his environment. Of course, he was the first one to get this cage set up, and he was my practice run to make certain that I like using these enclosures, which I do. I think they're a really good enclosure. They hold humidity good. So the next snake below him is my beautiful Texas rat snake, and he's waiting right here at the door for us. So let's go ahead and take a look at him and his beautiful color. I really like how his color pattern is developing. I just recently did a video showing him when I first got him several years ago to what he looks like now, and it's been quite the color change, to say the least. But I'm really happy with the color that is developing on him. This red burnt orange color with these nice contrasting black saddles. Yeah, looks really cool in my opinion. Now he is a scaleless Texas rat snake, but he is not completely scaleless. He does have, let's see if we can't get it on the screen. He does have his belly scales, and he does have a line of scales that runs right down the middle of his back, and he's got some scales on the top of his head. So he's about 95% scaleless. Just a very cool snake. In the beginning, I wasn't too sure about keeping scaleless reptiles. It just didn't really seem like something that we really should be doing. But I did pick it up for the educational aspect of it, as far as taking it to different programs and showing people. And since then owning him, I mean, they really just act like a snake with scales. So as long as there's nothing seriously hurting the snake as far as its ability to live, I don't see a problem with it. We'll put him away. We're going to move down to the third cage here in the stack, and that is going to be this guy right here. As soon as I get him to come on out, and that is my very beautiful, not as big as the Texas rat snake, but my sinaloan milk snake. If you remember in the past, I did have two of these, a male and a female. I did rehome the female to a gentleman that I know, and I kept the male. I like these little half marks that he has, and I just wasn't really interested in breeding them, so I went ahead and sold the female. But I do have other snakes that will kind of fill that niche for me, so nothing lost there. But I wanted to keep him because I really like his colors. He's a very beautiful snake. For the most part, he is a strong feeder, but he is kind of a goofball about it. For those of you who have milk snakes, you probably kind of already know that. But again, there it is. That's the male sinaloan milk snake. We'll let him crawl back in. We'll close the door. And the last and final snake in this stack, I only have 4 cages. I do want to get a few more bigger ones, though. These are 24 by 24-ish. I want to move up to the 36 cages for this one here, and I'll have to go down here and get it. So in the bottom cage is my albino ball python. She has been a staple here on the channel. She is the oldest snake that I own. I picked her up in 2006 at the NARBC show in Tinley Park, Chicago, from Garrick DeMeyer. If you're familiar with him, he's still breeding ball pythons. But so this is my albino ball python. Try to get it focused on her. One of my favorites. This snake will be with me forever. But we are going to move her up into a slightly larger enclosure. Like I said, I think it'll be 36 by 22, I think is what the dimensions are. But for now, she will be fine in this. She's not a super large snake, so she'll be all right. So that is her, and then we're gonna pan you around and show you some more snakes. Okay, so over here, this is the snake rack that I've had, and I really thought about getting rid of it in place of those enclosures that those other snakes are in. But then I found a nice little nook here in the reptile room that it fits perfect, and I kind of found a purpose for it, and that is to raise up my subadult clubrids or anything that's that can decently live in these 36 quart tubs, 28, 36. I don't fully remember, but anyways, let's take a look at what we got in here, and we'll start with the top. And as you can see, he is right here. He is in shed, so his colors are not going to be as spectacular as they are, but once he sheds, he will be beautiful. And this is my albino Nelson's milk snake, and he is just so completely muted. But I know once he sheds, his colors are just going to pop, because they pop anyways. But those of you who have snakes, you know that once that snake sheds into new skin, man, for that first week or two, that skin, that new color just is extremely vibrant. So yeah, this will be unfortunate that he's not there for this video, but maybe I can get some photos and post them on Instagram once he does shed his skin. So let's go ahead and put him back. Let's move on to the next one in the rack. And so this one might be a little bit more, you can see him sticking his head out. Now, this guy is, excuse the washer there, this guy may try to bite me because here lately he has just been a feeding machine, and I've just touched all these other snakes. So let me get one piece of equipment. Okay, so when I'm handling the king snakes, sometimes I use this just because they are sometimes prone to bite because they have such strong feeding responses. And so we're going to use this to kind of let him know no food is coming, but and not to attach himself to my finger. At least that's the goal. Come on, dude. All right, we got him out. Let's. We're going to use this because he's definitely. Oh! I don't know if you've seen that, but he bit himself. But he was definitely investigating my hand, and I knew that a test bite was going to be coming. So yeah, we're gonna hold him like this, and he's not dangerous. He's just so food motivated, so food driven that you know, they will bite a lot of different things to try to figure it out. I'm glad he finally has a strong feeding response. There was a lot of times where he simply just would not eat for me. I guess he just didn't want rodents, and if he's in a room full of snakes, I suppose that was probably what was going on. But yeah, he's definitely checking it out. But let's see if we can get it to focus on him and not me. There we go. So that's why these little snake hooks are always handy, just for things like this. And again, he's not dangerous. I just don't want to have to wrestle him off my finger because I just don't have time for that today. They are going to get fed later this afternoon, so he will be fed. It's just king snakes are stomachs, and that's all they think about is food. So, but I'm glad that he finally has a strong feeding response again, so we can finally start working on getting some size to this guy. Of course, being a male, he doesn't need to, it's alright if he doesn't reach full adult potential, so to speak, and that kind of sounds bad, I understand, but you know, a female, if you want to breed a female, she absolutely has to be in top peak condition. She needs to be her optimal size that she can be to hold all those eggs. And you know, males don't carry eggs, so if they're on the little small side of their potential, they are still fine and healthy animals. Let's focus on him. But anyways, we are going to put him back, and let's move on to the next reptile. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave him and the hook in here. Since he's got it all coiled up, we'll just let him be. And we'll come back and get the snake hook in just a moment once he's crawled off of it. So here we have that little, let's get a closer shot of her, focus on her. There we go. So this is a super pastel cinnamon ball python female that I picked up, and you know, she's doing pretty good. Again, I moved her into the slightly larger enclosure, and for ball pythons, sometimes that makes them want to, you know, stop feeding. But last week we did finally get a meal into her as well, so I think she may have settled in. And of course the temperatures here in Ohio have been very fluctuating, and that kind of also messes with the room temperatures and everything. Not that it gets super cold, but still, when you go from a 90-degree day dropping down to, you know, high 70s, mid 70s, you know, it really does affect the animals themselves. But I'm guessing that the storms that have been coming through have also contributed to the increase in wanting to feed, or at least the hunger to actually start eating again. So again, with not much time, she is going to get to a decent size, and I'm on the fence about whether I'm going to be keeping her or not. At this point, I don't fully know, but probably will, because I really like the way her colors are developing, and I don't really think I'm going to breed her or the albino, but you never know. As of this time, I don't even have a male, so it's not even a question. So we'll put her back. Reach in here, snake hook is out, and as you can see that these 4 tubs down here are empty, and that's because I've got 3 youngsters that aren't quite big enough to go in here yet, and they are still in the baby rack. So let me swing the camera around again, and let's take a look at those snakes. Okay, so we're going to take a look at what's in this rack over here, and I'm still going to need this because there is another king snake over here, and she is way more food aggressive than that guy. But we're going to save her for last. So first up, we've got this yearling corn snake. Let's get it to focus on her. So we got this yearling corn snake, an albino tessera. You've guys seen her in the videos before. One of my favorites. I really like the way her color is developing, although I wish she would stick to more of the red and white. But up here we got a nice yellow or orange stripe going on, which, you know, hey, I guess it could be worse, but very, very beautiful snake. There you go, focus on her. There we go. Nice striking colors. I will always have a corn snake. There will always be a corn snake in the collection, and as of right now, she is the only corn snake that I personally have. So I do have plans to get another one, but that won't be for a little bit because there's a particular morph that I'm looking for. So we'll go ahead and put her back and move on to the next tub. So here is another little spaz. Again, this is another one that I've had trouble eating somewhat regularly, but again has picked up here real recent as far as eating all the time. I did have to switch this girl over to feeding on live rodents, which is something I don't do very lightly. I really thought I could keep her eating on frozen thawed, but she just wasn't having it. And if you've seen her in previous videos, you can tell that, you know, she really hasn't grown a whole lot, as much as she should. So I definitely had to switch her to live to keep her alive. So but she is feeding, and last week she did feed on a frozen thawed, so possibly we're past the live stage or live feeding stage, and we can get her to stay feeding on frozen thawed and catch back up to the size that she should be. Sometimes that's just the way things go. It's not always ideal, and it's not always, you know, gonna go as planned. You just have to roll with it and just do what is needed, and in this case it was feeding live mice. So now with her and that other, okay, so this is an albino. This is a T negative. The other one is T positive, or is this T positive and that's T negative? Yeah, she's T negative. She is an albino as well, and from my understanding, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, but this is co-dominant to the other albino mutation, meaning that I'm going to get a roughly 50-50 mix of the two types of albinoism in the clutch. But the nice thing is normals on these Nelson milks look very similar to normal sinaloan, so that's why I sold that female sinaloan, and instead of breeding sinaloans, I figured I'd breed Nelsons. I can still potentially get that normal Nelsons slash sinaloan look while also creating these two types of albinoisms. So is that a word? Albinoisms? But anyways, you know, that was my thinking. That way I can still, because I wanted to keep that sinaloan male. He's been with me for a while, and I knew that somebody could use that female and, you know, essentially use her to help, you know, create some more, and that way I wouldn't have to, I guess. But anyway, so that is a little female albino Nelson's milk snake. Sometimes these are called lavender albinos because of the what would be black isn't. It's kind of a grayish lavender tone. So we'll put her back. And speaking of lavender albinos, that's what the next snake is. So we got to unwrap her from my fingers. We are going to get this because, yeah, it's another king snake, and she will bite and wrap my finger. She's done it before. Yep. I don't think you guys could see that, but she already bit the tub. So, of her is this girl here. About her, she's kind of a well, she's a bit of a biter. So we'll try, let's skip her for a minute. Let's go up here, move on to this one, and hopes that we don't get bit, because that's what she does. See, she has a very strong feeding response, and she just might show us today. No, back up, back up, back up. Always hungry. Even when I feed her heavily, she still thinks it's always dinner time. And yeah, you like the camera? Oh, nope, back up. Oh,
he bites.
Whoop. See, she just tried to get the camera. Now what are you gonna do? Huh? You gotta go back into your tub. Oh, up and over. There's a lip there. Nope.
He's a biter.
Ornery little thing. Come on, back up. Back up. There we go. There we go. Oh, the joys of king snakes. Nope. You gonna take another whack at the camera? You can't even eat the camera. You can't even eat the camera. This girl's a little crazy. This is why I don't suggest king snakes as a first-time snake. Obviously, this is only one of 3 that I have, and you know, she's the only one who exhibits this extreme behavior. But if this was your first experience into snakes, this would definitely be off-putting. So that's why I say wait till you get some more experience. No. Back up. No. I'm just trying not to get bit because she does hold on. Here, see if we can't get her to pull that tail in so we can close her up. Nope, stay back. Stay back. There we go. There we go. There we go. She's back in there. So yeah, that fun excitement, we'll just leave it at that and move on to the next stuff. Okay, so up next is my leopard gecko here, and some of you guys may know that this was sold to me as a female, but I have recently discovered that it is in fact a male. So that's really the only update on him. but he's doing pretty good. I really enjoy having this guy, and we are going to be doing a nice bio setup for him here really soon. Okay, so as some of you might be aware of, I did hatch out these two little baby day geckos, so we're just going to drop some food in and keep their attention as best we can. But yeah, this is a first for me, these two little giant day geckos. I do have the parents. We will drop in some footage of them as well. These guys are a little bit more secretive or a little more scared of the camera, so it's harder to grab good footage of them. But anyways, these little boogers are cute little things eating on these little fruit flies. So he just missed it, but he isn't gonna give up. He got a mouthful of multivitamin. I sprinkled multivitamin on the flies to make them more nutritious for the geckos to eat. And here he comes. There, he's got it. Nice little snack, about another dozen of those will give him a belly full. But yeah, these guys are pretty cool. I did recently a video on just these guys, so you should go check that out. So here is one of a few tarantulas that I do keep. This one here is a Mexican red knee, and doing a little happy dance because he has got a mouthful of cricket, as you can see there. Definitely fun little animals to watch. I really do enjoy them. They're pretty much low keep, but it's about time to redo this guy's enclosure here real soon. And the next spider or tarantula I'm going to show you, it's only going to be a still photo because, well, it's hard to catch him outside of his burrow. So there he is. That is the Mexican red rump. And then I do have two forest scorpions. Here is one of them out and back when I first got them. These guys are pretty cool. I definitely enjoy them as well, just to watch them mosey around their enclosure. But he was not very happy with me. So we will move on to the next little critter that I have, and that is my pumpkin patch. This is a rare event to see this guy out and about. There for a short bit I thought he may have perished, but thankfully one night when I turned on the reptile room light late at night, there he was on the side of his enclosure, the inside of his enclosure. So this is a rare treat, and he's gotten quite large since last time I seen him. You can see he's got a cricket there. He didn't quite figure it out, but he does eventually get that cricket. I just really love the colors on this guy. So here is my final little tarantula, and this is a little pink-toed tarantula. Again, this is back when I first acquired it. It is a little bit bigger now, but it's hard to get good footage of it because it has built a web and it doesn't really come out much. So we're going to use this archived footage of when I first got him because I just think it's a really fascinating video, and most of you probably haven't even seen this footage yet. So nice little arboreal species here. It's the only arboreal species that I currently keep. I would like to get more though. I was just trying to nudge him in the direction of going into his new enclosure, and he didn't quite want to go that way. He had his own thoughts. And there he goes. Out of focus. So we'll move on to the next animal. Okay, so this is the legless lizard setup, Lieutenant Dan. So this here is my legless lizard, and his name is Lieutenant Dan.
But you ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan.
So that's why we call him Lieutenant Dan, because he doesn't have any legs. This is definitely a fun animal to have in the collection. Again, another good ambassador animal for the reptile presentations that I do. Of course, we're not going to be able to see him. He does hide back up underneath here into the substrate. So I will have to post some footage of him when I feed, because that's the only time he really comes out for me. And so we'll just insert that here, and then we'll go on to the next reptile. So the next reptile or snake that I'm going to show you is my green tree python in this fully bioactive setup. We do have live plants and a cleanup crew living down into the soil, and we caught her out and about just sunning herself. Let's see if we can get this to focus. There we go. There's her head right back there. Still holding on to a lot of her juvenile yellow coloration. But, I'm not complaining one bit about that. Very beautiful snake. But I do want to, let's let this thing focus. I do want to redo this setup. I think it's time to add a few more perches in here, maybe perches that are just a little bit bigger, and maybe pull this palm plant thing out of here and put something different. It is starting to reach the top, although I do kind of like the look of the overgrown look that it does present in the cage. But yeah, this snake is one of my favorites, and I really can't wait to do a full bio setup for when this animal is full grown. She always looks so small when she's coiled up like that, but once she stretches out, which I'm not going to force her to, she actually has got some length to her. She's about a foot long, and she is eating weanling mice, or the equivalent in rat size. But they're doing quite well. So they always look smaller on here. But that is her. Let's move on to the next reptile. Okay, so the last snakes I have in the collection are the big guys in this rack. I don't have a good angle for the other way, so unfortunately you gotta look from this way. You can see that rack there behind me. This is what I have the boas in, and my northern pine snake. This is a temporary setup just until I can, as I'm reworking the room, this is just a quick fix sort of thing. But once the boas are out of here, I have an idea of what I'm going to do with this. So while it's a temporary thing for the boas, I didn't waste buying all this wood to make this without having a backup plan for what I'm going to do with it. But that's a different video. Let's take a look at the boas now. So here is the motley girl that I have. She is probably about, I want to say she's going to be around 3 feet long. Very beautiful snake. Let's get her to hold on to me. And so I can show you this. I love this full stripe she has down her tail. It just, something about the motleys and boas, just something I really like. Oh, she's coming around this way. Okay, come on. Let's get her to swing back around. There you go, hold on to me, there you go. There we go, nice transition. So that is her. I'm really pleased with her color, and her temperament is very good. You just never know when you're buying snakes of this size exactly why somebody is getting rid of them. You know, you don't know if they just have a bad temperament or whatnot, but I purchased her anyways because, like I said, it was something that I was interested in having, was a motley boa. So very beautiful snake. Can't wait to get her outside for some natural sunlight photos and videos of her crawling around the yard. You guys have seen those videos in the past on the channel, and we are going to do it again this summer, but we just have more snakes to take outside. So we'll put her back. We'll move on to the next one below her, and it's he's the smallest one that I have, and that is, come on dude, and that is this jungle. Well, it was sold to me as a jungle. I don't know the morphs well enough. He came along with the motley, and for the price, I couldn't say no. I do like his coloration, and again, he is also just as temperamental, is I think is the right word, as she is. He is a little bit small. We did have a little bit of a problem with him feeding, but like I talked about in that boa update video, I do believe it was because of possibly that the females were receptive and maybe releasing some pheromones. So a lot of times male snakes won't eat when they know that there is a receptive female nearby, because that's all they want to do is get to her. But he did eat a medium rat 2 weeks ago, and he will be fed again this coming weekend. So we will hope, fingers crossed, we're past this and we can start putting weight on this guy as well. But a good snake nonetheless. Oh man, she made a mess of her cage. Water dish flipped upside down. Yep. I just cleaned your cage yesterday. Alright, we're going to get her out. She's going to be a little bit dirty from the substrate. She has made a mess. But wood chip. But anyways, this is my big girl right here, looking all dirty, creating a heck of a mess in her substrate, with her substrate. But man, she is, come on, here, hold on to me, here, spin around, there you go, there, now you guys can see her. She is a big girl. She is the biggest snake that I own. She's got to be somewhere close to 5 feet, I think, and probably weighs, I don't even know. She's definitely my finger. It doesn't bend that way, girl. Yeah. So, what are you gonna do? Anyway, she is a beastly of a snake, at least as far as my collection is concerned. I don't have anything that gets bigger than this, but nonetheless, she's one of my favorites. When I do the educational programs, which you can see back here on the wall where I've made it into the newspaper, she is definitely a fan favorite. And yeah, she is definitely a snake that I want to keep around as long as I can. So you can see she's big, and she's dirty today. Nope, Oh, nope, not happening. There we go. Come back around this way. There you go. There we go. That's better. That's better. Yeah, now, there we go. Now we can get you all into frame. But I use that cocoa chip bedding for her, well, for the boas, to help with keeping that humidity, because in the wintertime here in Ohio, the air is quite dry, so I need that extra help. So that is what I use. I use that for a lot of the enclosures that I need. The extra humidity for the ball pythons as well, although that cage that we've seen that little ball python in, she does not have it, but we are now coming into the hotter, warmer months, so I did switch her back to that aspen, but she's got a big enough water dish. I'm certain she's going to be just fine. But again, for these boas and this setup, I definitely have to be on it as far as keeping track of temps and humidity, because I don't know, I just don't really like tub setup for these guys, so they won't be in here for long. Again, this was only temporary, and actually where the camera's sitting will be some nice enclosures for these guys. I'm looking at 5 to possibly 6 foot long enclosures, so that way they have plenty of room to stretch out and do their thing. So we're gonna put her back. I see the battery light is now flashing. I've got one more snake to get to close out. And down here is the big guy himself, and that is this big old northern pine snake. He goes by many names. The family often refer to him as Oreo because of his black and white kind of colorations, but you know, he is a fun guy to work with. A lot of times he is very vocal and expressing his displeasures by hissing at you, but yeah, he is just a really awesome guy, and I will probably do a feature video just on him, so keep an eye out for that one. And it's okay, buddy. But that is my northern pine snake. So I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for staying clear to the end. And if you liked it, please feel free to subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button. Any questions, comments, leave them down below in the comment section. And I try to reply to everybody as quickly as I can. So until the next video, later.
Shut up and sit down.